Let me begin with a simple idea that carries enormous power. Your life does not change by accident, it changes by design. Excellence is not a destination you arrive at one day when conditions are perfect. It is a discipline you practice daily, especially when conditions are not. The art of daily excellence is learning how to do the small things well, consistently, long before the applause ever shows up. Daily excellence begins the moment you decide that your life is not going to be left to chance. Most people hope for a better future, but hope without discipline is a weak strategy. The art of daily excellence starts with a conscious decision to take ownership of your time, your actions, and your standards. When you accept that every day is shaping who you are becoming, you stop living casually and start living deliberately. The smallest actions repeated daily carry more power than the greatest intentions left unused. People often wait for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Excellence, however, is built on commitment. Commitment says, I will do what needs to be done whether I feel inspired or not. This is where personal growth truly begins. The days you feel energetic will add momentum, but the days you feel tired and still act with discipline will add character. You see, life rewards consistency more than intensity. Anyone can perform well for a short period of time. Anyone can get excited after hearing a powerful idea. But daily excellence belongs to those who quietly repeat the right actions long after the excitement has faded. Reading a few pages every day may not feel heroic, but over time it builds wisdom. Exercising a little each day may not feel dramatic, but it builds strength. Saving a small amount regularly may not feel impressive, but it builds security. Excellence is rarely loud, it is patient. One of the greatest enemies of daily excellence is neglect. Neglect does not announce itself. It whispers, skip it just this once. It tells you that missing one day won't matter. But the danger is not in one missed day, it's in the habit of missing. What you do occasionally won't define you, but what you do consistently will. Daily excellence means guarding against small lapses before they turn into long-term patterns. Another essential element is learning to manage your time with intention. Time is not something you find, it is something you invest. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone uses them with the same level of awareness. Excellence asks you to plan your days instead of reacting to them. When you decide in advance what matters most, distractions lose their power. A planned day has purpose, an unplanned day has excuses. Daily excellence also requires learning to do common things uncommonly well. Success is not hidden in complexity. It is found in execution. Show up on time. Finish what you start. Do your work with care, even when no one is watching. These simple disciplines separate those who merely get by from those who steadily rise. The world makes room for people who can be counted on because reliability is a rare form of excellence. You must also understand that daily excellence is deeply connected to self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. Every time you break one, you weaken it. Confidence is not something you shout into existence. It is something you earn quietly through daily follow-through. When you trust yourself, you move differently. You speak differently. You take on greater challenges because you know you can rely on your own discipline. Daily excellence does not mean doing everything perfectly. It means doing the right things faithfully. Some days will be messy. Some efforts will feel slow. Progress will not always be visible. But excellence understands that growth is often happening beneath the surface. Just like roots grow before a tree appears strong, your daily efforts are preparing you for results you cannot yet see. There is also a powerful shift that happens when you stop asking, what do I feel like doing today? And start asking, what kind of person am I becoming today? This question elevates your actions. It reminds you that each day is a vote for the future version of yourself. Excellence is built when you cast the right vote repeatedly, even when it feels insignificant in the moment. If you commit to mastering this first principle, showing up daily with intention, discipline, and responsibility, you will discover something remarkable. Life begins to respond differently. Opportunities appear because you are prepared. Confidence grows because your actions align with your goals. And success, instead of feeling distant, starts to feel inevitable. Daily excellence is not a talent reserved for a few. It is a practice available to anyone willing to be consistent. Start small, stay faithful, and let time do its work. Over the person you are becoming will be far more powerful than the person you used to be. Daily excellence is strengthened when you learn to govern your inner world before trying to conquer the outer one. Most failures do not begin with lack of ability. They begin with unmanaged thoughts. What you think about repeatedly becomes the lens through which you see your life, and eventually the blueprint for your behavior. If you allow your mind to drift without direction, your days will follow the same pattern. Mastery begins when you decide to think on purpose. Every day you are engaged in a silent conversation with yourself. The tone of that conversation matters more than most people realize. If you speak to yourself with doubt, impatience, and complaint, you weaken your resolve before the day even begins. But when you practice deliberate thinking, reminding yourself of your goals, your responsibilities, and your potential, you create inner alignment. Excellence is not about pretending everything is easy. It is about choosing thoughts that empower action rather than excuse inaction. One of the disciplines of daily excellence is mental input. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you feed it constant negativity, gossip, and distraction, do not be surprised when motivation is scarce. On the other hand, if you consistently feed your mind with ideas that challenge you to grow, encourage responsibility, and expand your perspective, your behavior will naturally rise. A few minutes of focused reading, listening, or reflection each day can change the direction of an entire year. Another vital aspect is emotional control. Emotions are valuable messengers but poor leaders. When emotions are in charge, discipline disappears. Daily excellence requires learning to act on principle rather than impulse. There will be days when you feel confident and days when you feel uncertain. There will be days when enthusiasm is high and days when it is absent. Excellence means you act anyway. You do not negotiate with temporary feelings when permanent goals are at stake. You must also learn to pause before reacting. Many people sabotage daily excellence by allowing moments of frustration to dictate their actions. A single emotional reaction can undo weeks of disciplined effort. Mastery is found in the pause, the moment where you choose a thoughtful response instead of an automatic reaction. That pause is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Each time you choose patience over impulse, you strengthen your inner authority. Daily excellence is also supported by clarity of purpose. When you know why you are doing what you are doing, discipline becomes lighter. Without purpose, even small tasks feel heavy. Purpose gives meaning to effort. It turns routine into training and difficulty into development. Taking time each day to reconnect with your long-term vision keeps short-term discomfort from feeling unbearable. A clear why can carry you through days when energy is low and progress feels slow. Another important discipline is guarding your focus. Attention is one of your most valuable resources, yet it is constantly under attack. Distractions pull you in 1,000 directions, leaving you busy but unfulfilled. Excellence asks you to decide what deserves your focus and what does not. Doing fewer things with greater intention will always outperform doing many things poorly. Focus is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters most with care and consistency. Daily excellence also requires emotional maturity, the ability to experience discomfort without retreating. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it demands change. Many people avoid excellence not because it is difficult, but because it is uncomfortable. But discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is often a signal that growth is happening. When you learn to sit with discomfort and continue forward, you develop resilience. And resilience is one of the most valuable traits you can build. You must also recognize the power of self-accountability. Excellence grows when you stop waiting for external pressure and start applying internal standards. When no one is watching, what do you do? When no one is checking your work, how carefully do you perform it? These moments define character. External discipline can create short-term results, but internal discipline creates a life of consistency. As you practice these inner disciplines daily, something profound begins to happen. Your actions become calmer. Your decisions become clearer. Your progress becomes steadier. You stop being controlled by moods, distractions, and circumstances and start being guided by purpose and principle. This is the deeper layer of daily excellence mastery of the mind, emotions, and focus. When the inside is ordered, the outside begins to follow. And when you consistently win the inner battle each day, long-term success becomes not a matter of luck, but a natural outcome of who you have chosen to become. Daily excellence reaches a higher level when you understand the power of standards and environment. Many people work hard but remain stuck because they never raise what they expect from themselves. Life tends to respond not to your wishes, but to your standards. If you accept average effort, average results will follow. When you quietly decide that certain behaviors are no longer acceptable, progress accelerates. Excellence begins the moment you say, "This is how I do things now." Standards are not goals, they are boundaries. A goal says, "I want to achieve this." A standard says, "I will not operate below this level." When you raise your standards, your choices automatically improve. You no longer debate whether to prepare, show up, or follow through. It becomes part of who you are. This shift removes friction from daily decisions because your behavior is guided by identity rather than mood. Your environment plays a powerful role in supporting or sabotaging daily excellence. Environment is not just the physical space you live and work in, it is also the people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the influences you allow into your life. You cannot live a disciplined life in a careless environment and expect excellence to thrive. Sooner or later, the environment always wins unless it is deliberately designed. Start with your physical surroundings. Order creates clarity. A cluttered space often leads to a cluttered mind. When your environment is organized, your energy flows more easily toward productive action. This does not require perfection, but it does require intention. When you design your space to support focus and progress, you reduce resistance and increase consistency. Small environmental adjustments can save enormous amounts of willpower. The people around you also shape your standards. You do not have to abandon everyone who thinks differently, but you must be honest about influence. Conversations that constantly complain, excuse, or criticize quietly lower your expectations of yourself. On the other hand, being around people who value growth, responsibility, and effort raises your standards naturally. Excellence is contagious when you place yourself in the right circles. Daily excellence also involves choosing what you tolerate. What you allow repeatedly becomes normal. If you tolerate being late, missing commitments, or doing careless work, those behaviors will multiply. But when you decide that certain actions are beneath your standard, you eliminate them without struggle. Tolerance shapes identity. What you tolerate today trains you for tomorrow. Another critical element is learning to measure progress, not perfection. Many people abandon excellence because they expect flawless execution. But excellence is about improvement, not error-free performance. Track your consistency. Notice your effort. Pay attention to small wins. Progress motivates progress. When you acknowledge growth, you reinforce the behavior that created it. Daily excellence is also strengthened through structure. Structure is not restriction, it is freedom. When your days have a basic framework, your energy is not wasted on constant decision-making. Routines reduce mental fatigue and make excellence easier to repeat. Structure allows you to focus creativity and effort where it matters most. The more important the goal, the more valuable the structure that supports it. Another overlooked aspect is learning to finish. Many people start strong but lose momentum because they fail to close. Finishing builds confidence. Completing small tasks daily reinforces the belief that you are someone who follows through. Excellence is not just about starting with enthusiasm. It is about ending with discipline. Each finished task strengthens your self-trust. You must also learn to remove what does not serve your standards. Excellence often requires subtraction before addition. Remove unnecessary commitments. Reduce distractions. Eliminate habits that drain energy without providing value. Every no to something misaligned is a yes to excellence. Simplification sharpens focus. As you raise your standards and design your environment with intention, daily excellence becomes less of a struggle and more of a lifestyle. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on systems. You stop forcing discipline and start living it naturally. Progress becomes steady, not dramatic, but deeply reliable. This is the quiet power of standards and environment. When they are aligned with excellence, success no longer feels like something you chase. It becomes something you express daily through the way you live, work, and choose. Daily excellence is ultimately proven over time, and time rewards those who understand patience, reflection, and continual refinement. Many people quit too soon, not because they lack ability, but because they misunderstand how progress works. They expect immediate results, and when results are delayed, doubt creeps in. But excellence is not built in a rush. It is built through faithful repetition. Time does not oppose disciplined effort. It multiplies it. One of the most powerful practices of daily excellence is learning to stay the course. There will be seasons when effort feels light and seasons when it feels heavy. The difference between those who succeed and those who stop is not talent, but endurance. Endurance is the ability to continue without constant reward. When you learn to work without applause, you develop a strength that cannot be taken from you. The world eventually recognizes what you have already proven to yourself. Daily excellence also requires regular reflection. Progress without reflection can lead to stagnation. Taking time to review your actions, decisions, and habits allows you to make small adjustments before small errors become large problems. Reflection is not about regret, it is about refinement. Each day offers lessons, and those who learn from them gain an advantage over those who repeat them. You must also learn to separate activity from progress. Being busy does not guarantee improvement. Excellence asks you to evaluate whether your daily actions are aligned with your long-term direction. Are your efforts moving you forward or merely keeping you occupied? Honest evaluation sharpens effectiveness. When you align effort with purpose, even modest actions produce meaningful results. Another essential element of daily excellence is patience with yourself. Growth is rarely linear. There will be setbacks, plateaus, and moments of self-doubt. These are not signs of failure, they are part of the process. Impatience often leads people to abandon good habits before they have time to produce results. But patience keeps you grounded in the process, trusting that consistent effort will eventually yield visible rewards. Daily excellence is also reinforced by gratitude. Gratitude keeps ambition healthy. It reminds you that progress, however small, is still progress. When you appreciate how far you have come, you gain the energy to continue forward. Gratitude does not weaken drive, it stabilizes it. It prevents discouragement and protects your mindset during challenging seasons. Another powerful practice is learning to teach what you are learning. When you share insights, lessons, or experiences with others, you deepen your own understanding. Teaching reinforces standards and strengthens commitment. It reminds you that excellence is not only about personal gain, but also about contribution. Contribution adds meaning to discipline and purpose to effort. You must also understand that daily excellence requires adaptability. What works in one season may need adjustment in another. Rigid attachment to methods can slow growth. Excellence means staying committed to principles while remaining flexible in approach. This balance allows you to evolve without losing direction. Adaptation is not weakness, it is wisdom in action. As time passes, the compound effect of daily excellence becomes unmistakable. Small improvements accumulate. Skills sharpen. Confidence grows. Opportunities appear not because you chased them, but because you became capable of handling them. Preparedness attracts progress. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum builds belief. Eventually, excellence becomes less about effort and more about identity. You no longer ask whether you will show up, you simply do. You no longer debate whether to improve, you expect it. This is the reward of long-term discipline, the transformation of behavior into character. Daily excellence is not dramatic, but it is powerful. It does not rely on luck, but on law. The law of consistency, the law of growth, the law of time. If you honor these laws and remain faithful to the process, your life will steadily rise to meet your commitment. In the end, mastering the art of daily excellence is mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, everything else becomes a matter of time. Daily excellence reaches its fullest expression when you understand that who you become is more important than what you achieve. Achievements can be taken away, delayed, or replaced, but character stays with you in every season of life. The highest form of excellence is not just doing well, it is becoming well, developing the kind of inner strength, integrity, and wisdom that sustains success long after the initial results appear. One of the defining traits of daily excellence is integrity in private. What you do when no one is watching eventually determines what happens when everyone is watching. Private discipline creates public confidence. If your standards only rise when others are present, your growth will always be limited. But when you live by principle even in solitude, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken. Excellence is most powerful when it is practiced quietly. Daily excellence also requires alignment between values and actions. Many people know what they value, but their daily choices tell a different story. Excellence closes that gap. It asks you to live in agreement with your beliefs. When your actions reflect your values, life feels more focused and less conflicted. Energy that was once wasted on inner tension becomes available for progress and creativity. Another essential element is service. True excellence is never selfish. When you focus only on personal gain, motivation fades quickly. But when your daily efforts are connected to serving others, through your work, your example, or your contribution, discipline gains meaning. Service elevates effort. It reminds you that your growth is not just for you, but for the impact you can have on others. Daily excellence also teaches humility. Growth requires acknowledging that there is always more to learn. Arrogance closes the door to improvement, but humility opens it. When you approach each day as a student of life, you remain adaptable and curious. Excellence does not mean you have arrived. It means you are committed to continual refinement. You must also learn to handle success with discipline. Many people work hard to reach a higher level, but lose consistency once they arrive. Excellence asks you to maintain the same standards at the top that you used on the way up. Success should expand responsibility, not reduce effort. The habits that built progress are the same habits that sustain it. Daily excellence is strengthened by long-term vision. Short-term thinking leads to short-lived results. When you consistently ask yourself how today's actions will affect tomorrow, next year, and the next decade, your choices gain depth. Long-term vision protects you from shortcuts that promise quick rewards but produce lasting regret. Excellence chooses durability over speed. Another important practice is forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. Holding on to past mistakes drains energy needed for progress. Excellence is not about perfection. It is about recovery. When you make an error, acknowledge it, learn from it, and move forward. Dwelling on failure delays growth. Learning from it accelerates it. Daily excellence also requires courage. Courage to say no when distractions call. Courage to stand alone when standards are higher than those around you. Courage to continue when results are slow and doubt is loud. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Every courageous choice strengthens your identity as someone who does not retreat from growth. As you live this way consistently, something subtle but powerful happens. Your presence changes. People sense reliability, depth, and calm confidence. Opportunities begin to seek you out, not because you chase them, but because your character signals readiness. Excellence becomes recognizable without announcement. Over time, daily excellence turns into a legacy. Not just what you accomplished, but how you lived, how you treated others, how you handled pressure, and how faithfully you showed up. Legacy is built in ordinary days through consistent choices. It is written quietly, long before it is ever noticed. This is the final measure of daily excellence. Living in such a way that time becomes your ally, character becomes your strength, and contribution becomes your reward. When you commit to this path, success stops being a question of if and becomes only a matter of when. So, decide today that you will master the art of daily excellence. Not by doing everything at once, but by doing the right things consistently. Guard your habits, feed your mind, discipline your actions, raise your standards. Be patient with the process. If you do this long enough, something remarkable will happen. Your ordinary days will quietly turn into an extraordinary life.